I welcome you back to this video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to generate your story and also how to insert your story in Prota Structure 2021. Okay. First thing you have to note whenever you are generating your story or you are editing your story or inserting your story in Prota Structure is that once you import any general arrangement in Prota Structure, okay, you see the story 1 that you inserted is known to be your first floor. Okay, even if you do your general arrangement from AutoCAD and insert it to this point, your general arrangement is meant to be done from your ground floor. Okay, then from your ground floor, you now model any cantilever that you have on your first floor. Okay, but you see the story 1 that you started modeling first is your first floor. Okay, if you want to insert a story, for instance, this design now is a one suspended floor, but in Prota Structure, if you want to insert such story, Prota Structure see your one suspended floor as a 2-story, okay, which is your ground floor and your first floor. You have to take note of this. It means your ground floor is going to be 1 story and your first floor is going to be another story. Meaning if you are inserting a story on Prota Structure, you are inserting 2 story for a 1 suspended floor. For 2 suspended floor, it means you are inserting 3 story. Okay, let me show you what I'm trying to say. This is just a 1 suspended floor. If I want to insert a story now, I'll go to this story. As you can see, story here. Okay, I'll go to this story. I will click on it. I will right click and say insert story. Okay, then to insert my story now, I will just type 2, which means I want to insert 2 story. I'll click on OK and I'll click on yes. Okay, as you can see, after inserting my story now, I now have story 0, story 1, story 2. Previously, I have just story 0 and story 1. This my story 0 now is my foundation for the ground floor. This story 1 is my first floor, and this story 2 is my roof beam. Okay. Now, how do I insert my story height? I've inserted my story, but I need to also insert the story height. Okay. According to this design, the height of this story from ground floor to first floor is 3,450. Okay, from first floor to the roof beam is 3 meters. Now I want to type the height of the story. Now I will go to this story, then I will right click and go to edit story. Then under this edit story, the height for this point, I will type 3,450, which is from the ground floor slab to the first floor slab. Okay, then from the first floor slab to the roof beam is 3 meters. Okay, then if you come to this right hand side here, first story bottom level is from your natural ground to the top of your slab. That is the way your foundation projects out from the natural ground. Okay, I will type 450. Okay, then the foundation depth, I can still leave this here. You should know that this depends on your soil test. Okay, then I'll click on OK. We have successfully inserted the story height for this point. Okay, we have inserted our story and also we have edited our story. Okay, now, how do you generate your story? How do you generate your story? If you want to generate your story now, firstly, let me show you what we have been doing in 3D. On this Story 2 plan now, I will right click and say 3D physical model. Okay, can you see? Can you see what we have been doing? Okay, can you see? This is what we have been doing. Then I will go back to my plan. Okay, this is my story 2 now. Let me go back to my story 1. Okay, I'm currently on my story 1 now. Now I want to generate this story to story 2. To generate this story now, I will still go to my story. Let me go to story. Let me see story. Where is my story? Story. Then I will right click. Let me click on this drop down. I will right click on this story and say generate story. Then it's going to allow me to generate story 1 to story 2. Okay, if you have more than story 2 and you want to generate it, you keep clicking on those story. Then it's going to generate your columns. If you have a share wall, anything you don't want to generate here, you uncheck it. For me, I will just leave it for now, so that it's going to generate the member that I have there. I will click on OK. Then I will click on close. Then if I go to my story 2 plan now, as you can see, I'm on my story 2 plan. It means it has generated all I have on my story 1 to story 2. If I go to my story 1 now, you see that I have the same thing here. If I go to my story 2 plan now, you see that I also have the same thing here. Can you see that? Okay. Now, it's now left for me to do whatever modification I want to do on my story 2. Okay. This is where I'm going to stop on how to edit your story, how to insert your story. Thank you very much. See you in my next video.